have a confession to make. I am a little bit obsessed with the stories of people's lives and how they get from point A to point B. So today I've invited a dear soul sister friend, another Australian. Well, actually, she's African Australian, lives in Australia, but African. Shaine is with us today, and we're going to talk a little bit about creating and sharing your stories. So, welcome, Shaine.
Thank you, Teresa. Beautiful, warm welcome. It's just so lovely to be in this space today.
So, I want to start this conversation with a bit about what inspired you to start helping others come together in storytelling.
It's a good question, and it's a long journey. But what inspired me was realizing I had a story inside of me, a story that I kept, you know, I think what happens is in our life we have events that happen in our life that suppress our storytelling and our stories because we just feel nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to know about it. And for me, it took an event in my health, and it was an event of having had breast cancer where I realized there's a story. It's like life suddenly gives you nudges and you don't listen. And then sometimes you have to have a slightly bigger event happen in your life. And for me, it was through my health. And that was like the nudge to say, hey, it's time you start speaking up and you've got stories to share. And in that, I believe that once we share our story, it not only heals us, it heals those that are listening to us. So that's where it's sort of started from.
Well, it is quite interesting that you say it was with a health issue with breast cancer because it is interesting how things like that is what inspires people to make a shift in their whole being where now it's time to, and also I think when you come through something like that, or really anything, it could be divorce, it could be death, it could be, I mean, even small things, right, Shaine? I mean, we all have these stories, but sometimes it's those bigger things that really propel us forward and go, okay, I need to share this in a way because the sharing, and I'm assuming it helps other people, right? Gives them hope.
It's all about hope. I know. I was sharing my story and my health journey to recovery to a group of people actually in South Africa not so long ago. And it was so beautiful to have women and men come up to me and say, thank you. You've just given me hope. And for me, that is what it's all about. It's the hope. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so I know that you've been leading groups for a while now in South Africa and also down in South Australia. You're in Adelaide. And so I want to ask you a bit about the people who have come to these events. Is there a commonality or something that brings them forth that you've noticed in the people that have come forth and share? Because I know that the events you do, they're quite intimate and they're quite, people come forth and just share, but in a beautiful setting. You have a beautiful container you create. So I'd love to hear a bit about the commonality or what you've noticed with people that have come forth and shared their personal stories.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because people don't naturally, because I like creating a space that's pretty informal I don't want you to prepare for your talk. This is all about coming there, not polished, to come along and share whatever is working for you. And the commonality is, I believe a lot of people have got that story inside of them, and they just want to come along and support others first of all that are sharing their story, and they have a story inside of them. Look, we've all got a story inside of us, but there's that fear. There's an absolute fear of standing up and telling your story in that space. So I've been able to create a beautiful, safe space for people to come along and share their stories. So it's And what is beautiful with that is noticing, and I love listeners. We need to have listeners when you come along because you can't tell a story without a listener there. And a lot of times listeners come along and I know they've got a story inside of them, but they don't want to share on the day. But once they've noticed, and that's, I suppose it's that little bit of bravery. Oh, that person stood up and they shared their story. And well, it wasn't a perfect presentation, but I can do the same. And it was exactly what I needed to hear. So then they'll put their hand up and say, can I come along? Can I share a story now? So it's just opening up that portal of using your voice. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that there's also so many layers to it, right? So there's a component of, like you said, like getting up and speaking, but that part about listening. I know when
Yeah.
I'm in a group, sometimes people often speak over people. They're impatient. They maybe want to say things when that's something that the person's talking about or stimulating. They want to come out and say it. And so I think that there's, like you're saying, there's such power in the fact that just listen and observe and not give feedback or not, because a lot of people want to also, like therapy, they want to help people, and oh, I feel so bad. I'm like, no, no, just listen. So do you find that also being something that you try to really emphasize, as far as, especially with like no feedback or anything like that? Because boy, some people like to give some therapy. So
Yeah, it's beautiful because people that are drawn to that sort of space and naturally want to nurture and help. So it's really trying to bring that together and say, look, this isn't a space to coach. You're here to listen. And what I love doing with that is actually inviting the audience to celebrate that speaker. So actually leaving that speaker to stay standing there, because sometimes it's a bit uncomfortable. We're not used to receiving celebrations. It's not for us, it's for somebody else. And so when they stand up there and they're receiving a celebration about something that that person in the audience loved about what they shared, it could have been the way they presented it. It might have been just a little sentence but that's where, as you say, it's the listening, so that they realize that, because I do tell them, I'm going to invite you for a little celebration afterwards, so that it gets the audience into that listening thing and not, you know, being totally distracted. So, yeah, definitely.
yeah, I think that's a really important thing. And I know that a while back I took one of your, you had a workshop or an online course, masterclass that I took, and it was so incredibly powerful, and the people that showed up were lovely. But just like the way that you go about supporting people in and speaking up and sharing is profound. So have you had training with that, or what's the process that you've found that has supported you in helping other people with that?
Yes, it was lovely having you in that masterclass, and it was profound. Yes, I started with this about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. I started training around a very unorthodox way of doing you know, I sometimes I feel if you say public speaking, that puts people off. It's more an art of communication because the public's not everybody wants to go on the big stage. And it was realizing that it's the day-to-day communication. Even with your spouse, your partner, your family around the kitchen table, how do you communicate and listen to them daily? And so with that and this feeling within me, I knew I found this one woman who had so profoundly changed my life, and she is very unorthodox in her way of teaching public speaking. And I did her program, and yeah, I fully qualified, did the whole, if you want to call it public speaking part of the program where I, work either in groups or one-on-ones, whatever it is. And that's where it's taken me today.
I love that. And also, the fact that you like resonated, obviously found, because there's a lot of people out there sharing different aspects and different ways of coming forth in public speaking or just speaking. And, but finding that person for you, that must have been just a special moment for sure.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, Casey Baker was definitely the woman that I remember coming. She came through to Australia to come and do a weekend sort of intensive workshop. And at the time, I had no idea what she was going to be doing. And a friend still invited me, and I thought, well, you know what? It's down in Byron Bay. If I don't like it, I'll just go and spend the weekend on the beach or go
Mm.
shopping.
Right. Loved it.
It changed my life. Yeah. The beach didn't see me and the shopping didn't see me.
I've never made it to Byron Bay yet, but I heard it's so lovely. I mean, it's so
Yeah.
quaint and beautiful. So, yeah, to be in a situation where you weren't going to the beach where that place was available there, that must have been a good event.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And so recently, I know, you've done a lot of work down in Adelaide with people, and then you also went back to Africa, South Africa, and did some work there. So did you notice a difference, or is there like, are all the people kind of the same of what they're coming forth and sharing, or what's the difference that you kind of notice? Because that's two different areas of the world, and people have gone through different things.
Yeah, most definitely. And, I think the bottom line, and it's not even I know the bottom line is that uh, people are still just seeking that space to be seen and heard and to be safely held. And I found that the people who shared in South Africa had, there was one instance, and I've got to share it, and I know she wouldn't mind me sharing it, where this woman got up and she shared her story. It was really, really moving. And I didn't realize that leading up to sharing her story, she'd been suffering with a neck problem for many years. She'd been to so many practitioners, doctor, whatever. She just could not move this incredible pain that would hit her every now and then. It's very crippling in a way. And after she'd stood up and shared her story, I actually get a bit emotional when I hear that. And I'm speaking it. It's She sent me a message the following day and said, "You won't believe it. My neck pain is gone. I I don't know what happened, but that's the power of releasing of whatever was in and telling your true story, because that's what it's about. It's telling your story and your true story, not somebody else's." So that was a profound healing for somebody, and it was an honor to be there and actually hear of that outcome. I obviously didn't see the healing, but knowing that deep down inside, that intuition, that when you're there, there's something that's going to shift today. There's so much energy in that room. And yes, there is a difference. Yeah, South Africa has, people on quite high alert there. And in Adelaide, they're pretty laid back. So energy wise, yes, there is a slight difference in that. But the commonality was just being seen, heard. Um, you know, People go through depression, and we don't always know that. And people that are maybe in the midst of it come and join a group like this, and they just listen. For them, it's listening, it's healing. And what I was very for me, what was interesting was to find that in the shares in South Africa, I thought, oh, I wonder what sort of shares we're going to have, because there are some very big traumatic shares that can be can be shared in that space. But what was beautiful was none of that actually came through in any of the storytelling. That was real, deep heart sharing uh, of that person, that human, that person just sitting there. So, and that happens from both sides. So it's beautiful. There is a commonality there.
Beautiful, and it stems really back to you, Shaine, because you're so authentic and you're transparent with, who you are and how you support and hold those containers for people. So it's a testament to you, your soul, and the work you're doing, which is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
So I just want to mirror that back to you because it's true. Like, it's in people, it's the person leading, the person that's sharing up front. So, um, I just wish I lived closer. I know we said that so many times. I'm like,
I know.
I want to come to your event so much. And I know you did like the workshop for a day or so. I'm like, I want to be there so much. And sometime maybe I will be like, I'm just going to fly to Adelaide and come to Shaine and
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll have to come and visit you, and we'll have to do something there. That's a thought as well.
or somewhere
Mm,
halfway.
yeah. Or
We like
even
Hawaii or somewhere
yes.
halfway. We could absolutely meet and do like a
Oh,
retreat or something. Ooh, I think I
oh,
feel something bubbling up here.
oh, I can feel it in my body. Yes,
That
yes.
would be super cool because there's a nice halfway point. If you don't want to come all the way, that would be beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, let's see what the next year holds for us.
You never know, right? Because there's
Yeah,
connections. Because the fact that we came together through a business leader and met and had this connection, it's beautiful. And I think that's a lot of what I like about and love about what you're doing with the storytelling and giving that space for people to share. Is that because I watch so many documentaries on Netflix and Amazon. Oh my gosh, like documentary after documentary. But those, of course, are people that have made it to fame. And
yeah,
every single person on the planet has a story and has, their rendition of how they came through this world and the things they've been through. So being able to really share those authentic, real, down to earth, people, not just all the movie stars and all the people that have made it and are billionaires or whatever, it's so needed, I feel, for sure.
oh, yeah. I very much believe in that as well. And after the world shut down, for those couple of years, and people became more attached to their computers and were pretty much locked in. I felt that yes, the world opened up a lot better through this little beautiful, technology. But I just felt people were craving to be, speaking, wanting to be in close proximity of each other. But I also realized that just being exactly where you and I are right now is as pretty close as we can be being miles apart. So whether you're miles apart or whether you are in the same room, there is that beautiful connection. And I'm just trying to think where I'm going with this conversation now. And I was actually going to put on something else, but it'll come back to me.
I think where you're going, and what I'm feeling you're going to is just the connections that we have. And I do also feel that part about being out with people. And so I think that's why recently there's many layers to why I went back to a full-time position with healing, money issues, and all kinds of stuff. But I have so enjoyed being around people because for the
Yeah.
last few years, I've been, like you're saying, in the house and I've been in the computer. And so to be amongst people and really get a feel energetically, especially since that's a big part of what I'm about, is where are people at right now? What are they
Yeah.
experiencing? And I'll just share with you the other day, a coworker and I were chatting about things and we were both saying how, we sometimes you can't see what we're feeling inside. And I was having some grief coming up around my daughters and how they don't connect with me. And there was even time at the work when I had to go to the bathroom because I started really crying because I was so upset about some things but no one knew. So I think that's the key too, Shane, is like, we really hide these things and don't come out. And then like the person, and it can affect our physical body because we're holding in these things, or these feelings and these emotions and grief and whatever's, going on for each of us. So having that safe space, and really it can look like all kinds of ways. So I really want to dive into that now. Is what would you suggest to the listeners out there who are going, yeah, I have a story, or I would like to find out more about how to share it. What's a suggestion, or do you have something you'd like to share with people as far as how to get out and really share in different ways for themselves? I know it's really
Yeah,
broad, Shane, but
yeah, broad.
I know,
But
like the
yes,
world.
well, well, we're just so lucky that there are different, if people are wanting to do it in their immediate areas, there are great places within your town that does maybe storytelling, some form of storytelling event, and that that they can resonate with. And I find it's just going along and finding groups. Sometimes it won't be around storytelling, but there is that opportunity to go and share your story. Find anything that's online. Actually, I'm thinking there's a calling for me to do storytelling online. I've had a few people ask me, and I know you are one of them.
I'm in. When's the date?
People along and start, sharing stories, because I would rather sit and listen to an evening of storytelling than sit in front of Netflix all night. So,
Yes.
and like I have them in person here, and it's, it's just finding, you've just got to keep searching in your area. Is there somewhere that somebody wants to share
Yeah, I
and
love
have
that.
you
And
share the
And
story?
back to what you're saying a little while ago too about our connections, and so I know there's an energy connection. Even like you said, you're in Adelaide, Australia. I'm in the middle of the country in Iowa, but we still feel like we're in the same room energetically because we've
Yeah.
got that connection of energy. So it's so I'm excited that there's potential for you to have an event online. That would
Oh,
be amazing. I would definitely be the first one to sign up, Shane. So
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
well,
Well,
Well, I
mm.
was looking through your Facebook because I know that's one way that people can connect with you. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But you had a beautiful quote on there that I want you to share a little more about. It's just beautiful. You said, "Your voice is a window to your soul, as waves are to the ocean."
Oh, yes. Wow, that is a quote. And thank you for reminding me around that. Yeah, your voice is the window to your soul. And for me, that is speaking authentically from your heart. You know how often, and the waves, and that's how the wave is to the ocean. It's all part. You're one. There is no separation. And for me, it's very much the you have this knowledge and that wisdom locked and deep inside of you. Sometimes we've locked it very far away. And it's bringing that beautiful wisdom up to the surface and being able to speak from your heart. Now, people sometimes think when you're speaking from your heart, it's going to be ending up as you're going to be a dithering mess at the end of it. But it's not that. Yeah, that can happen as well.
Mhm. That
But
could happen.
it could happen, definitely.
Mhm.
But what I'm trying to say is that, we work so often from our head space, and we say things that people want to hear. But is it coming from what we truly believe? What is inside of us? The message inside of us that we want to deliver. And that's where I just feel that whole, that connection of voice and soul is one. Because once people can feel what you're saying and say, she's authentic. This is coming, she's sharing, and they can feel it. I've noticed people resonate immediately if you are speaking your truth rather than sharing somebody else's story or something that you've researched a gazillion times and you're just regurgitating whatever you've researched. That's all
You
I'm
know,
saying.
that is so true, and it's so funny, Shane, because I don't do that. Like a lot of people have quotes upon quotes upon quotes, and I'm like, I just have nothing. It's just me. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
really, it's yeah. I just don't. I remember a couple little things, but nothing like. I mean, some people just have all these in their head. They could just pull them out and say them, and it's just not.
yeah.
I just don't do that.
I'm so with you on that. I'm pleased you said that because I think there must be some magic quote that's coming my way or whatever. But I struggle. I think,
Yeah.
this is me. I
Right.
just this is me. You've got me.
Got the Shane quotes coming straight up.
Yes, yes.
Oh, Shane, it's been such a pleasure having you here. And I would love you to share with the listeners how they can look you up and how they can find you and connect with you if they want to find out more about speaking and storytelling and what you might have down the road for master classes or workshops.
Yes. I predominantly work out of Facebook. That's my office. So I'm happy for listeners to connect with me through Facebook, friend request me. And of course, there's Messenger, there's that part on Facebook as well. I do have a website with Shaine Dyus that is in the process of being updated, but there is a way of connecting with me in that way as well.
Lovely. And all of that will be in the show notes. So if you guys want to go there and find the link to connect directly with her, and I'll tell you, you will be very happy and because Shane is lovely. Thank you so much for coming on today, Shane. I so appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you, Teresa. It's just been an absolute honor to be here with you and to be able to speak to your audience as well. Thank you.
And thank you all out there in the world listening or watching on our YouTube channel. We appreciate you so very much. We hope you are inspired to go out and share your story. Find a place and a way to get out there and share it and speak your truth. That's what I want to say. So until next time at the perfect place next time, just remember that life is too short to not be enthusiastic about your unique journey. To keep the enthusiasm going, please like, subscribe, or comment below. We would love to hear from you.